What if I told you that 90% of the lure colors in your winter tackle box are completely useless? That the hours you spend agonizing between green pumpkin and black and blue are a total waste of time in January? It sounds like heresy, I know. Today, we're tackling the great debate: does lure color really matter in the dead of winter? By the end of this video, you'll understand the one simple truth that could change how you fish in the cold forever. And it might just be the reason you've been blanking on those tough winter days. So let me ask you straight up, do you believe lure color is the key to a winter bite, or is it all just marketing hype? Drop your answer in the comments right now before we get started. For generations, we've been programmed to think about color. Tackle store aisles are a rainbow of options. Every fishing magazine has a color selection chart for different water conditions. We've all heard the old wisdom: bright day, bright lure, or match the hatch. This creates a kind of paralysis for anglers. You're out on the water, the bite is slow, and the first thing you do is reach for another color. You do it because it feels like you're taking action, making a strategic change. It's a habit passed down through the years, reinforced by a tackle industry that loves selling us 50 shades of the same plastic worm. But what if that instinct, that lifelong habit, is actually distracting you from what truly matters in the cold? First, let's set the scene. It's January. The water is cold, maybe in the 30s or 40s. A fish's metabolism has slowed to a crawl. They aren't aggressively chasing down meals. They are conserving every last bit of energy they have. This is not the time for fast-moving, frantic presentations. A fish isn't going to burn precious calories to hunt down something unless it seems like an easy, worthwhile meal. This fundamental biological fact is more important than any color chart you will ever see. The fish's entire world has slowed down, and our approach needs to reflect that. We need to think less about appealing to their eyes with fancy colors and more about appealing to their instinct for energy conservation. That's the foundation for everything we're about to cover. Now let's talk about how a fish actually sees in this cold, often dim environment. Think about your own vision on a dark, overcast winter day. Everything looks a bit muted, a bit grey. The same goes for the underwater world. A fish's vision is less acute in cold water. Their ability to distinguish between subtle shades of color is significantly reduced. They are not seeing the vibrant crawdad red or the intricate bluegill flash that you see when you hold the lure in your hand under the bright lights of a tackle shop. They are seeing shapes, movement, and, most importantly, contrast. Understanding that their visual world is simplified is the first step to simplifying your lure selection. You're not trying to impress an art critic. You're trying to trigger a primal predator. Let's factor in the light. In January, the sun sits low in the sky. The days are short, and we have far more overcast days than sunny ones. This means less light penetrates the water's surface to begin with. The available light is weak and diffuse. This dramatically affects how colors are perceived underwater. A lure that looks bright and flashy in your hand can look like a dull, grey blob just 10 feet down. The low angle of the sun creates long shadows and emphasizes silhouettes. From a fish's perspective, looking up, they are far more likely to see the dark shape of your lure against the brighter sky than they are to notice its specific color pattern. This is a huge clue. The game isn't about color, it's about silhouette. This brings us to the biggest oversimplification in fishing, the water clarity rule. Everyone knows it. Use natural colors in clear water and bright colors in dirty water. While this has some merit in warmer months, it largely falls apart in the winter. In dirty winter water, a fish's visibility is already extremely low. A chartreuse lure might be slightly more visible than a green one, but neither will be seen from very far away. The fish will be relying more on its lateral line to detect vibration and movement. And in clear winter water, as we just discussed, the low light and a fish's dampened metabolism make colour a secondary concern. The old rules are just too simple for the complex conditions of a January lake. So if colour isn't the king, what is? The answer is one word: contrast. That's the real secret. In the cold, muted, underwater world of January, the most important visual trigger is how much your lure stands out against its background. Does it create a sharp, defined silhouette, or does it blend in? A lethargic base isn't going to inspect the fine details of your lure. It's going to react to a shape that either looks like an easy meal or an intruder. Creating a strong silhouette is the most effective way to get noticed. This is a massive mental shift. Stop asking, what color should I use? And start asking, how can I create the most visible silhouette in these conditions? Let's paint a picture to make this crystal clear. Imagine a base sitting near the bottom looking up. The sky above is a uniform washed-out grey, which is typical for a winter day. Now you throw two lures past it. The first is a fancy multicolored natural bluegill pattern. Against that grey background, it just looks like a semi-transparent smudge. It blends in. Now you throw the second lure, a simple, solid black jig. Against that same grey background, the black lure creates a stark, unmistakable shape. It pops. It's a clear target. Which one do you think an energy-conserving, slow-thinking fish is more likely to react to? It's the one it can see easily and identify as a potential target without any effort. This is why so-called natural colors can be so deceiving in winter. We buy them because they look realistic to us, in our hands, in the air. A green pumpkin jig with some orange and black flake looks exactly like a crawfish to our eyes. But drop that lure 15 feet down into cold, murky water on a cloudy day. What does the fish see? It sees a dull, brownish-green object that perfectly blends in with the dull, brownish-green bottom. You've effectively camouflaged your lure. You're hiding it from the very fish you're trying to catch. Your attempt to match the hatch has backfired because you forgot about the most important factor: visibility in the fish's environment, not yours. Let's add a little science. It's a well-known fact that colors disappear as you go deeper in the water column. The water acts as a filter for the light spectrum. The first color to disappear is red. In just a few feet of water, a red lure will start to look brown or even black. Orange and yellow follow soon after. The colors that penetrate the deepest are blues and greens, but even they become muted and washed out at depth. So that expensive lure you bought with the bleeding red gills? The fish probably sees it as a dark grey spot. This scientific reality proves that what we see on the deck of the boat is a poor indicator of what the fish is seeing down below. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what about chartreuse or hot orange? I've definitely caught fish on those in winter. And you're right, but it's crucial to understand why those colors work. It's not because a fish thinks it's a natural food source. No crawfish or minnow is neon green. They work for the exact same reason a black lure works: contrast. In certain muddy or stained water conditions, a bright, solid color like chartreuse can be highly visible. It's a shock factor, it's an irritant, it's something that doesn't belong, and it can trigger a reaction strike from a lethargic fish. You're not tricking it into thinking it's food, you're essentially annoying it into biting. It's a tool for visibility, not for imitation. Let's shift our focus for a moment from what the lure looks like to what it does. In January, the action of your lure and the speed of your retrieve are infinitely more important than its color. Remember, fish are slow. They want an easy meal. A bait that is crawling, hopping, or slowly falling right in front of their face is much more likely to get eaten than one that zips by. A slow, methodical retrieve with a lure that has a subtle, natural action will outperform the perfect color with the wrong presentation 9 times out of 10. If you spend your day swapping colors instead of meticulously slowing down your retrieve and focusing on your lure's action, you're majoring in the minors. I remember a perfect example of this. I was out on a brutally cold January day with a buddy. The bite was tough. My friend was getting frustrated, and every 15 minutes he was cutting his line and tying on a different colored jig. He went from black and blue to green pumpkin to peanut butter and jelly. Meanwhile, I tied on one single 3/8 ounce black jig at the start of the day and never changed it. Instead of worrying about color, I focused entirely on my retrieve, making sure that jig was barely crawling along the bottom, pausing for long stretches. By the end of the day, the score was 4 fish to 0 in my favor. Same spot, same type of lure. The only difference was that he was obsessed with color, and I was obsessed with speed. Let's be honest with ourselves for a second. A huge part of the lure color obsession is about one thing: angler confidence. We all have that one secret color that we believe in. When we tie it on, we fish it harder, we fish it more carefully, and we have more faith that we're going to get a bite. And because of that, we often do. The color didn't catch the fish, your confidence did. It made you a better angler in that moment. Realizing that this is liberating. It means you don't need 100 different colors to be confident. You just need a few proven profiles that you know will be visible, allowing you to focus your mental energy on location and presentation instead. So, how do we apply this? By radically simplifying your winter tackle box. Forget the 50 different shades of green and brown. You really only need to think in 3 or 4 basic categories based on creating contrast. Imagine organizing your box not by color, but by purpose. This approach saves you time on the water, saves you money at the store, and, most importantly, eliminates the paralysis of choice. You'll spend more time with your lure in the water and less time staring at your tackle. A simple system is an effective system, especially when the conditions are tough and you need to stay focused. Your first and most important category should be dark profile. This is your workhorse. It includes solid black, black and blue, or a very dark brown. A dark, solid lure provides the best possible silhouette against a brighter surface or in stained water. It works on sunny days, cloudy days, and in almost any water clarity. If you were forced to fish with only one color for the entire winter, a solid black lure would be your best bet, hands down. It is the universal language of visibility. It doesn't try to imitate anything perfectly, it just gets seen. And in January, getting seen is half the battle. Your second category is light profile. This is for your solid white, pearl, or shad-imitating colors. When would you use this? On those rare, bright, sunny winter days, especially in very clear water. In this situation, a dark lure might create too harsh of a silhouette and seem unnatural. A white or light-colored lure can provide a more subtle profile against a bright sky, mimicking a bait fish. It's also useful when you know for a fact that the fish are feeding heavily on shad. It's a more specialized tool than the dark profile, but it definitely has its place in your simplified arsenal. Think of it as your clear water, bright day option. Your third and final category is flash and provocation. This is where your chartreuse, hot orange, or lures with a big flashy blade come in. As we discussed, the purpose here isn't to look natural. The purpose is to be a visual shock to the system. This is your go-to for extremely muddy or murky water, where you need every bit of visibility you can get. It's also a great choice when the fish are completely inactive, and you need to trigger a pure reaction strike. You're not trying to convince them it's food. You're just trying to put something so obnoxious in their face that they bite it out of pure instinct or aggression. It's a tool of last resort, but a powerful one, I want you to try an experiment on your next few January trips. It's a simple challenge that will prove this point better than my words ever could. Rig up 2 rods. On one, tie a solid black lure, a jig, a Ned rig, whatever you like. On the other, tie a solid white lure of the same type. Leave every other color at home. Force yourself to only use these 2. Fish the black lure 80% of the time. Switch to the white one only if it's very bright and the water is very clear. I am willing to bet that you will catch just as many, if not more, fish than you would have by constantly switching between dozens of different colors. This experiment will build true confidence in what really matters. Now, is lure color completely and utterly useless 100% of the time? No, let's be reasonable. There are rare exceptions. If you're fishing a super clear, highly pressured body of water where fish see the same lures every single day, then a subtle change from green pumpkin to a slightly different shade might, on occasion, make a difference. But that scenario applies to maybe 5% of the actual fishing situations most of us find ourselves in during the winter. For the other 95%, focusing on color is a distraction from the fundamentals: location, speed, and contrast. Don't build your entire strategy around the 5% exception. So, let's bring it all together. The big takeaway is this: stop letting lure color paralyze your decision-making in the winter. Your time and mental energy are your most valuable assets on the water, especially when the days are short and the bites are few. Instead of wasting that energy agonizing over color, invest it in the things that truly make a difference. Invest it in finding the right location where fish are holding. Invest it in slowing down your presentation to an almost painful crawl. And invest it in choosing a lure that creates a strong, visible silhouette. That is the trifecta for consistent winter fishing success: location, speed, and contrast. So the big reveal, the great truth, is this: in January, the color of your lure matters far, far less than you've been led to believe. The fishing industry has sold us a rainbow of options, but the fish, in their cold and muted world, are just looking for a simple shape, a silhouette that says, easy meal. The game-changing moment is when you realize you can probably leave 90% of your tackle box at home. The freedom in that is huge. You stop second-guessing, you stop wasting precious time retying, and you start focusing with laser-like precision on what truly matters. This one mental shift can completely transform your winter fishing from a frustrating guessing game into a confident, methodical pursuit. Thank you so much for watching. If this video just saved you $100 on new lures, do me a favor and hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe for more no-nonsense fishing tips that actually work. Now I want to know for real, after hearing all this, are you going to simplify your winter tackle box, or are you still convinced your secret color is the magic bullet? Let the debate rage in the comments below.